Good afternoon. Let's try this again. Apparently, there is yet another challenge with Facebook and is live streaming. So I am coming to you from my cell phone today. I prefer not to use my cell phone for video streams because I can't see the comments. The comments are at a larger delay, it seems to me, when you go live on a cell phone as opposed to when you're on a desktop. So I will be looking at my desktop as well as my cell phone to see your comments, your questions, your feedback. So how is everyone feeling today? I see we have a few people on already. How is everyone? I pray that you are all well, of course. Okay. And I'm also asking you these questions. You know, that's something that people don't always tell you. We ask questions when we're live, number one, to make sure you can hear us and see us. But number two, when we ask questions and you respond, that lets us know how long of a delay there is between what we're saying and what you're hearing. So that's the reason why a lot of times when we go live, we'll ask you questions just to make sure everything is okay. Because if you know me, you know that I am always at a word for tech. So I see we have 7 people on. I see we have Asia and Miss Marsha. Thank you for joining. So today I want to talk to you guys. I want to use a little bit of an analogy, a little bit of metaphors. I wanted to talk to you about the pandemic and your playbook. So I see Miss Tori said that her furnace went out today. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank God that the weather is breaking. I'm not sure what part of the country you're in, but thank God the weather is breaking. So hopefully while you have a chance to get that fixed, you know, that at least it won't be too cold. So today I want to talk to you about halftime. It is almost the month of June, which means that the year will be halfway over. According to the scientists, we are approximately halfway over with everything we have going on, with this horrible pandemic. So I want to talk to you since it's halftime. I want to ask you, how many people feel like you have your pandemic playbook in order? How many people, by show of hands, do you feel like you have your pandemic playbook in order? Now, it doesn't have to be the order to your satisfaction, but do you even have one? Because some of us don't have one. Now, when we watch the news and we watch the videos, the number one thing they say to us is there is no, and I'm guilty of saying it too. There is no handbook for this. No one knows how to play this. No one knows. This has never happened before. We've never gone through this. That is true. But we have now been in this, some of us, for a few months. It feels like, I think it started back in March. Feels longer than that. But we have now been in this for a while. So while we may not have started out with a whole lot of guidance or a plan or a backup plan, we have been in this long enough to develop some form of a plan. Even if it's not thoroughly executed, even if it's not fully refined, we should by now, we should have some sort of a plan. And if we don't have a plan, my prayer, my hope, my wish is that you will leave this Facebook Live at least with a plan. So I'm going to ask y'all again. How many people, okay, Heather's getting there. That's all we can do. One day at a time, step by step, right? Does anyone else have a pandemic playbook? Do we have a plan? So, I'm not even a huge sports fan, but I'm a Philly fan because that's where I'm from. So, I like Philly's teams. So, I'm going to use the analogy for you today of sports, okay? So I'm going to jumble up your football, your baseball, your basketball. To the real sports fans, forgive me, okay? So I want to talk to you about halftime, your pandemic playbook. Let's talk about the lineup. In sports, they always talk about the lineup. Who's our star players? Who's going to come out first? Who's going to be the ones that come while the other guys take a break and they're going to come out on the field? Or girls, because women, we doing it too these days. Who's in our lineup? Do we have people in our lineup that simply are not team players? Now is a good time to take a look at our lineup. Oh, thank you, Miss Alma. Pandemic pull out all kind of skills in it. See, that wasn't in the playbook, but I didn't figure it out a little bit. Our lineup. Who's in our lineup? Is everybody on the team with the team? So I'm getting a lot of feedback, a lot of questions and things about centers and other businesses alike that are able to reopen, but they can't reopen. The families are there, the customers are there, but the staff is more happy with the unemployment and with the additional funds. So if you think I have a way to tell you how to compete with that, I'm sorry, I don't. You cannot compete with someone getting paid more money than you are paying them to stay home. Can you turn that volume down? Thank you. But one thing that I want you to do and be mindful of with this lineup is, y'all know when this first started and I told y'all people remember how you treat them? Well, I want you to now we're in halftime, okay? I want you to remember how people treat you. And when I talk about people, I'm talking about your staff too. Now, our staff by now, they have seen the news. They understand what PPP is. They understand that you've been given it so that you can keep them off of unemployment. But yet we still have some people that refuse to come back to work. And a lot of these people haven't even been asked to come back to work. They've just been asked to come off of unemployment and continue to receive your pay so that the person that provided this opportunity for you does not end up having to be stuck with this liability to pay this money back. Those people, if those people are on your lineup, you might really want to think about having some subs in place, some substitute players for when things come back. Because I know there have been some providers that have left us at a time like this. So if you can leave at a time like this, knowing the situation and circumstances, and it's not because, now I'm not talking about the people that need child care for their children, or they're caring for a sick person, or they're in a 2-family home and the other spouse isn't able to bring in. And I'm not talking about those people. I am talking about the people that legitimately said, I'm not coming back to work, because this was a perfect storm. Now, let's be real. It was income tax time. It was stimulus time. And it was unemployment giving out an extra $600 time. Okay? So these are the people that said, I'm way better off now than I am going into your little job or taking your little paycheck. I don't need it. Well, guess what? They're absolutely right. They don't need it. They don't need that spot on your lineup. So in your pandemic playbook, just make a little mental note of that. Now, I ain't trying to make nobody lose their job. I can only speak for me and how I think. So take note of that in your pandemic playbook. I'm sorry. I know sometimes I got to be tough. I'm nice. I love everybody, but I got to be real, because my job, my purpose, my thing is to help childcare owners maximize their profitability and realize financial freedom. Everything I say to you is not going to be sunshine and rainbows and roses. I'm sorry, but I can promise you that everything I say to you will be true at the time that I said it. Now, if the SBA make me a liar down the line, I can't do nothing about that. But I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to paint something rose-colored if it ain't. And I intended to have that poor English. So look at your lineup. Write that down in your pandemic playbook. The next thing we got to think about when we playing any sport, because this is a sport, we in this to win this, okay? We are not part of the sit and wait and watch and see what happened crew. We need to be part of the, and I'm going to reflect on my youth, we got to be part of the don't stop, get it crew. This is halftime, okay? It's time to keep going. So we got to think about safety. We playing this sport. We in this to win this. We running. While we gaining these yards, we got to think about safety. What are we doing in our playbook to be safer when we come back? Because we always safe. We always concerned about the safety of the babies. And we always concerned about the safety of our staff. But what about you? What about your family? What about who you go home to? We have to worry about ourselves. And throughout this whole pandemic, a lot of us have been concerned about everyone else. And we're going to continue to care about everyone else, because I'm a child of God and I was taught I need to love my brother like I love myself. I'm not going to stop doing that. But loving you and caring about you does not mean I have to play patty cake with you, especially if you hurt in my business. And some of these things are hurting our business. So think about safety. In this pandemic playbook, what are you going to implement? A lot of the states are passing down guidance that we have to operate at reduced capacity, or we have to change our ratios up yet again. The childcare industry is already set out inherently with a disadvantage because it is a ratio driven business. And the only way to be profitable in a ratio driven business, of course, is to have a solid grasp on your numbers and to have everything in place. So we need to be safe, we need to be wise, and we need to be smart, and we need to document it. But I'm going to take it a step further. When you following these safety protocols, do a plan A, plan B, plan C. If that lineup we talked about in point 1, and I got 6 points for y'all. We on number 2 now. But if that starting lineup ain't acting right, and you need to call in the pinch hitter, or you need to take a pinch hitter or a starter, and you need to put them back on the bench, what you need to do is you need to think about safety. And you need to think, if what I have in place is no longer in place, what am I going to do? Because you know what? Ain't nobody thinking about you. Okay? Am I mad? Yes, I'm mad. This is mad. This is about as mad as you'll ever see me get. Okay? Number 3, we in the sport, right? We in this to win this. Our plays. What major sporting event or circumstance you go into and they don't have no playbook? They on the camera, they got the little wires in their ear, they got tablets now, y'all. They fancy. And they drawing plays and rearranging and remixing. You got to have your plays down packed, okay? You got to be thinking about your next move and making your next move your best move. Don't go back, for those of you that have been out. Don't go back the same way you left. Even if you've been open all along, like some of our soldiers have been in Florida. We have soldiers in Texas that have been around. New Orleans been open. And there's a few other states that just have, Maryland, Connecticut. There's a few states that have some personnel that have not been open. Oh, and New York. We just got to take our hats off to New York, because New York been hit the hardest, and New York is still going strong. Everyone is just caring for the children, and especially the children of our essential workers. So we thank you. We appreciate you. Congress may not have written you in the most recent bill. Congress may not have bailed you out. But for those of us working parents that have had to utilize child care professionals to care for our children, we appreciate you for whatever is worth. But have your plays in order. Have your next move. Make your next move your best move, okay? Those people that were there that maybe should not have been there, well, guess what? Now is the perfect opportunity. You know that parent, you know that family, the ones that you were thinking about terming, but you didn't term. Well, guess what? Now, more than likely, you're going to open up and you're not going to be able to accept everybody. So pick and choose who you accept very wisely. This is the personal, for those that may be a little passive aggressive or not want to hurt feelings. Game on. Now is the time when you can selectively say, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to offer you a space. And you don't even have to say at this time. And I'm very careful about my selection of words. When I say no, we're not going to be able to do it. I don't put that at this time if I don't mean it, because I don't say what I mean and I mean what I say. So now, get your plays together. Have your contingency plans. Make your next move your best move. Plan out 3 moves ahead. Think about what's going to happen when this next wave comes about. If it comes about, I pray that it doesn't. But once bitten, twice is shy. Don't get caught out there how we got caught out there this time. I know we won't, because next time there may not be a PPP or an EIDL. And if they keep giving you all this PPP and you got 2 months to pay it back, can you afford those payments in the first darn place when the state ain't even going to let you open up at the level that you're used to operating at? So think about it. Next move need to be the best move. Number 4, I want you to think about the people that are out on injury. There are some people that are with us, that are really with us. They on the team. They are out on injury. Let's not forget about them. Injury may not mean that they are infected, but they just may be affected. A lot of people are mentally shot from this. I know I can speak for me. I was fine. I was good. But then you know what happened? A close friend of our family lost his mother, and none other than myself had to help him with paperwork and see a death certificate that said COVID-19. Now, I don't know why. I can see the rest in peace. I can see the memorials. I can see the invitations. If I get invited to one more Zoom funeral, all of that stuff hit me, but it didn't hit me until I seen it written in black and white. Let's remember those that are out on injury. Let's not confuse them with the starting lineup that ain't lining up right. Because there are some people that just can't stomach it. Some of us have close relatives that are caring for COVID patients. And those of you that know the words of prayer, please pray for my family. See, I will ask for prayer and I will continue to pray for you all too. But getting these phone calls daily, it's a lot. Or living in it daily, it's a lot. Even for the families that may be working that are going to choose to not have their children come to your center, even though you're open, even though you took all the proper protocol, there are some people that are not going to be comfortable bringing their children back. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay because we got to do what's best for us. See, here we go again. They're doing what's best for them. You have to do what's best for you. Number 5, let's think about next season. At the end of the season, it's always going to be a next season. The NBA kicked it off first. Let's look at how the NBA handled this. They realized it wasn't right. You know how much money they lost? They didn't even care. But so far to date, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I have not heard of an NBA player passing away from this. Unfortunately, I have heard, I've lost count on my hands of how many people I know that have lost their lives over this. So think about your next season. Let's be wise. Let's be available. Let's be alive for next season. Okay? Because if we are not here and we are not planning for the next season, or if we go put our heads under a rock and we give up and we give in and we crawl and we just let it go, if we do these things, you know what? There's a whole nother side that some of you may not be aware of, but there are people just waiting for you to fail, and they're waiting to buy your child care centers up. And they're calling to ask us to help do the valuations on the books that they're looking over. There are people, and I'm not saying that they're bad. There are some good people that's doing it that are trying to help bail out their fellow child care providers. But there are other people that just see the opportunity. Remember I was telling you about opportunity in the pandemic? Well, it never registered in my brain to think that far into the opportunity. Probably because I'm so connected and attached to this industry. I didn't even fathom that. But that's what's going on right now. People are checking out and they are thinking that there is no next season. There is always a next season. In Pennsylvania, in 2015, the providers weren't paid for 88 days. And most of the people in the city, of my city, Philly, most of them service a lot of families that are subsidized. And a lot of those families, they just weren't paid. But guess what? They are still here. They still made it. And they didn't have a bailout. There was no grants. There was no all of these state grants and city grants and PPP and EIDL. No. These ladies and gentlemen that served the children of the state of Pennsylvania, they were just left high and dry. So all of this, I'm going to give up. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. Let's do a rewind. Let's do an instant replay since we're talking about sports. What was the situation before the pandemic? If you weren't doing well before the pandemic, why would you think that you'd be doing better after the pandemic? But guess what? Most people that we work with have more money in their bank accounts than they ever had in the course of their operations. Some of you, do y'all know who those people are? I done been going on and on and on. I'm going to tell y'all my last point, and I'm going to go to the comments, because I told y'all it's hard to watch when you are forced to stream from your phone because Facebook is shady right now. So do y'all know who the people are that have more money sitting in their business account than they ever had in the full operation of their business? Do y'all know who these people are? And no, the answer is not people that work exclusively with Jones Taxes. I would like to tell you that, but I told y'all earlier, I'm not going to tell you anything. Somebody's self-identifying. And they said it's them. I'm going to tell you who these people are. These are the people that number one, most of these people, they serve some of the families that a lot of people prefer not to serve. They are serving the people that are taking care of the young Shanitas, the people in the inner cities, the low income families, the families that qualify for subsidies and support. They are taking care of these children, and most of the states are still paying. Some states are paying, and they're not paying based on attendance because you close. They're paying based on enrollment. Okay, so those forgotten ones, it's so crazy how the pandemic showed us so much. So those forgotten ones, those centers, they're still up and running. They have resources that, oh, I need to find my charger. They have resources that they would not have had if it was not for the pandemic. Another thing that some of these providers have is they ended up being able to get different grants, different loans, different PPP options, and all kind of things of that sort. So now I have people that usually at the end of the month, they just trying to figure out how they're going to make it. And now these people are asking me, how can I use this money to make more money? They're asking, are you sure I can't use these funds to do blah, 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 and XYZ? So that's just a tidbit. I'm glad to see that it's coming back on those people that serve people like me. This serve people like me. I hate to be selfish, but people like me, and people like a lot of the people that I work with. They could have chosen to open up shop anywhere and work with anybody, but a lot of them are where they are because they believe in it. I serve who I serve because I believe in it. I'm not a daycare CPA. I specialize in child care accounting because it's an industry that's near and dear to my heart. A lot of the other industries that we serve are much more lucrative, but we don't feel the same value that we're able to provide, and we don't get the same reward from serving all of those people. So that was point number 6. Next season, this is halftime. This season is almost up. God willing, this season is almost up. But we still need to be thinking about next season. So don't give up. Don't give in. Okay? Number 5, we need to think about the financial impacts. Now, I was just celebrating because our bank balances, some of us, some people, when I say us, I'm speaking us in general because it's not me, but some people, their bank balances are looking better than they've ever looked before. Oh, Miss Teresa says she was told by others to limit the amount of underserved to keep out undesirable parents and kids. Now, see, some people operate from their mindset. And some of the people, not all of the people, some people that only serve kids that receive subsidies and vouchers do it because that's their community, and they live in a community that there's not plenty for these families, and they just want to serve their community. They want to be near home. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people that make the choice to operate in wealthier areas, or even for people that don't want to do the paperwork. Because I was talking to a provider 2 days ago. I don't remember who it was, but she's actually on here, and she said to me she feels like she's like the care for kids follow-up person, and she spends all her time doing this. So there are some people that choose not to serve these avenues simply because they don't want to do all the paperwork. So I'm not talking about those people. I am, however, talking about the people that Miss Teresa was talking about that said that, those people that want the undesirables. Now, I don't know. Maybe because I have been an undesirable, and to some, I probably still am an undesirable. So maybe that's why my heart goes out to them. But I know that if it wasn't for the quality of education that I received, I would not be in the position I am in. And if all of the people that taught me did not see it not robbery to come on down to the hood where I was, I wouldn't have been able to get where I am. So I'm appreciative to that, and I won't forget where I came from. But we need to think about the financial impacts. Yes, it's nice. You got PPP, you got EIDL. But one thing I want you all to remember is these are both loans, except for that up to $10,000 grant, the $1,000 per employee. All this other stuff, you got to pay that back, okay? That was not a bonus gift. Doesn't nobody owes you, and it's funny because the more passionate I get, the worse my English gets. No one owes you forgiveness of anything. It's called forgiveness. Forgiveness in the true context of the word. You do not have to be forgiven. But as of right now, as it stands, however much money they gave you, that's what you owe back. You have to pay that money back. So while we're looking in our pandemic playbook, you should have a plan, or if you don't, start devising a plan. How am I going to afford that payment? Because it seems that the average amount of money that most centers have been given that we've been talking to is to the tune of $80,000, right? So if you received $80,000 and that needs to be repaid over 24 months, you're looking at least a 35 around, let's just round it. You're looking at about $3,500 payment a month. Can you afford that? No? How can you afford that? No, I did not say give money back. That's where you will want to have a consultation with your accountant or a knowledgeable accountant. But I'm not saying give it back, but I'm saying when you in your playbook, let's just not shout of the victory that we were the underdogs and now we on top. Let's remember that money needs to be paid back. And if it isn't paid back, and if it's not a plan in place to pay it back, that will create a problem for you. Okay? So I do know, and I will put this out here because I see some of the comments. I do know that they are still processing PPP. EIDL is not reopened for non-agricultural businesses right now. None of us fall under the agricultural realm that I'm aware of. I do know also that the government will be bringing out more guidance. They'll be sending out more guidance. They issued the PPP application. And I also said on some accounting-specific training, and the calculation, the SBA is saying it should take 3 hours to prepare that form. So if they're saying it's going to take 3 hours to prepare that form, do y'all know what that really means? It's just like when you look at your income tax return and you look at the form. If you ever read the instructions, who's reading pubs? but if you ever read the instructions, each form and each worksheet, the IRS tells you this should take approximately this much time. This should take approximately that much time. Every form they ever told you how long it's going to take, it never is the case. And the form itself, you probably could fill the form itself out in, I don't know, maybe an hour. But the trick behind the form is maximizing the forgivability, getting the most of it to be forgiven. Teresa says she thinks it really takes 4 to 6 hours. I think depending on the number of employees you have, that's where it's going to get more complicated. And if you're going to use more than just payroll, if you're going to also include your utilities and your rent expense and interest, I think it's probably, depending on the size and how frequent your pay periods are, I think it's probably going to take closer to like 6 to 8 hours. And that's for a person that actually has it together. Because they give you a couple of alternative methods of how you can calculate it. So, of course, if you're going for forgiveness, you want to go for the max forgiveness. And another rumor, and I'm calling it a rumor because I didn't read it from the feds yet. Another rumor that I've read is that the individual banks are going to be the ones to decide what gets forgiven, how much is forgiven. That's why you're not applying for PPP with the government. You're applying for PPP with a financial institution. Shout out to Cross River Bank for getting most of my clients funded. So the thing about it is, if you submit that application to that bank and it is not going to give you maximum forgivability, they do not have to reconsider your subsequent attempts. So you really want to get it right, and you want to get it right the first time, because they don't have to let you have a do-over. It's not in their interest to let you have a do-over because they want their money back. And the government is a slow pay. They much rather get it from you or from me than they would to wait until the government, because I really don't know where we're getting all this money from anyway. I've been watching Money Heist, so I'm really wondering if there's a team in there printing overtime, because we don't have any money as a nation. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about this new bill that's proposed. The Senate said they'll never let it go through. We know that Trump won't let it go through. And they really can't let it go through as it is, or we can be in trouble. So with these financial reports and with PPP and idle considerations, I'm going to run through a recap one more time of our halftime, the components, the pages, the chapters that we need to have in our playbook. We want to get our lineup right. We want to make sure we got the right people on our team and that they are actually playing on the team and team players. And the ones that are not, we can go ahead and trade them in, and maybe we might have to hold a draft round, y'all. Trim the fat. If you can leave me at a time such as this, when we get back, if you're not with me while I'm down, don't worry about when I'm on my uptick, because it'll be okay. So number one is the lineup. Safety. We got to be safe. Safety first. Your safety first. That's why when you get on the airplane, they tell you put your mask on before you put the mask on beside somebody else. If you're not okay, nobody else is going to be okay. It's dependent on your being okay to help them continue to be okay. Number three are plays. Make your next move your best move. Have some plays lined up, some contingency plans. Don't just jump out there and no Hail Mary and say, oh, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And now is a good time for Monday quarterbacking. Now is a good time to look at what have we done, what could we have done better. If there's no other time to do Monday quarterbacking, now is the time. Number four, out on injury. Some people are out and they're not coming back because their mind is not right. I know I can tell you my mind is not right. So I appreciate your patience with all this going on, for understanding that I will not be responding to 90% of the emails right away. I will be responding, but it's crazy out here, especially if you're on the northeast coast. It's really crazy out here. And it varies depending on where you are in the country on how bad it is too. And I don't even think that we're in the worst of the worst, and it's bad out here. Next season, this is not it. It's not over. And if you are thinking it's over and it's over, maybe it was already over before this started. Be honest with yourself. Don't spread that negativity. Stop telling people pandemic took you out. Pandemic didn't take you out. Pandemic didn't cause that sack. This was something that was underway all along. And it's okay, because just like you came up on this, you can come up on something like that. That's the beauty about it. That's the beauty about life. As long as you got breath in your body, you can always reinvent yourself. You can always come back. All hope is not lost. And to all those that are hopeless, I am praying for you. And then financial impacts. So we've realized, in talking to a lot of people over the course of the last several months, that a lot of finances are not in order and people need help. And we are so happy to help you, humbled to help you, grateful that we're in a position to help anybody. However, we do have other people that we have to help, and we will be providing maximum forgivable calculations services. I haven't even figured out what to call it yet, because the government's not finished writing the rules for us to follow, but we got to follow them. Y'all got that, right? So we had a healthy daycare financials training this past Saturday. So thank you to everyone that attended. I think we had a good time. We had a lot of useful information there. A lot of people gave me feedback. Unfortunately, everybody said that I told them what they were doing wrong. That wasn't the intent. We're going to get better. So we have decided to roll out the same offers that we offer to the participants, to the members in this group, throughout the end of the week. You are more than welcome to sign up for them so that you can help get on track for your business. So the first offer that we have is we will give you 2 30-minute financial coaching sessions. You can use these financial coaching sessions however you need to discuss your business, your even if it's your personal accounting and tax financial situation. And no other time do we assist with personal finances. That includes personal anything problems. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. The second offer is a QuickBooks Online diagnosis. A lot of people have QuickBooks, they use QuickBooks, but it's not used to their best benefit, and a lot of people don't even know it. So if your QuickBooks is jacked up, and you may not know it's jacked up, or maybe you suspect it's jacked up, we are going to offer you the ability to have us come in and give you a diagnosis. Now, it won't just be a diagnosis like it's bad. It'll be a diagnosis as in, this is the problem with your QuickBooks. This is how we know it. This is what you need to do to fix it. And then at the end of that, if you decide you would like us to take over it for you, we will do that as well. The third offer is if you don't have a QuickBooks to begin with, and you don't even know if the financials are not good or bad because you don't have financials, we are offering that we will do a QuickBooks online setup for you. We will set up your QuickBooks account, and then we will turn it over to you so that you can continue to manage it. And again, just like with the other offers, if you decide you don't want to manage it or you are unable to manage it, we can do that for you. So I'm going to post the link in the comments, and I'm going to leave a link live through the end of the week. You can sign up for one or, well, it would probably make sense. You can sign up for them. They're independent, standalone offers. And if you have any questions about them, you can definitely reach out and ask your questions. And this is all part of the pandemic playbook. Get your playbook in order. Don't let this pandemic leave you. And one of my accountant friends beat me up about it really bad. She said that I make people feel guilty, like everyone has to be coming up with all this wonderful stuff during the pandemic. But what about those that are like number 4 out on injury? I'm not saying that everybody needs to come up with a new master plan, but I'm saying that everybody does need to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, then you know what they say, right? Okay, so on the discovery calls, because we've been getting more discovery calls booked earlier, we're not permitted to give specific advice. We will not be calculating PPP, forgiveness, or any of that stuff. Those are standalone items that you are welcome to sign up with. Our outsourced CFO clients, that is included as part of their package, because most of them are going to use their 10 hours of out of scope work for us to figure this out. And for some of the larger clients, it's probably going to take about that much time to figure this out. So whether you are just getting ready to go back, or maybe you have already been back for a while and you're not sure, things aren't the same. Things aren't going to be the same for a while. How long, no one knows. No one saw this coming. But in the meantime, in between time, if you don't have your finances in order, if you don't have your lineup right, if you're not sure what you're going to do about safety, if you haven't gotten your plays figured out, and if everyone is out on injury, remember you got to think about next season. And of utmost importance is that you take consideration of the financial impacts, because if you don't, you won't have enough to be able to sustain you to stay in operation. And we're starting to see a lot of that. And surprisingly, it's the larger centers that are the ones that are struggling the most. The larger centers with a high makeup, a high percentage of private pay. So I posted the link in the comments to anyone that's interested. Again, the 3 offers are 2 30-minute financial coaching sessions. One is a QuickBooks diagnostic analysis, where we'll go in, see what's wrong, tell you what you need to do to fix it. And then the third offer, of course, is to set up QuickBooks for you if you do not already have it set up. And if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to ask. The link is in the comments. So thank you so much for your time and attention. So I guess we're going to break until next time. Remember, someone asked, if you have a topic you would like to be covered on Let's Talk Tuesday, if it's something that I can talk about, I will talk about. And all the topics come from people in the group. This week's topic was actually given to me by Miss J, the other CPA on my team. She was really concerned when she talks to y'all about halftime. What are we doing, to finish the year stronger? So thank you. So see, no one is an island. We need the people around us to be great. And if your lineup is not riding right, then trade them in. Have a draft. Do whatever you got to do. So I'm over and out, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.